Buenos dias. Welcome. It is AM Excellence 59, all in how you respond. Today we're going to talk about the things that we endure and how we respond to them is really the key to the outcome, the key to the key to where we go in our lives, really. It is 8:30 on a Sunday morning. I am well rested. Sunday mornings I still haven't found the perfect time for these AME videos. AME is also how I'll kind of refer to them. AME, AM Excellence. So I'm just kind of going with it, and I'll give you guys a heads up either on Saturday night. Welcome, Brian. Either on Saturday night or Sunday morning when I will be doing it on Sunday. So, all in how you respond. AM Excellence 59, and the book I'm reading is Above the Line: Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season by college football coach Urban Meyer. And the book is turning into, it's been my favorite, one of my favorites from day one. But the thing I especially like about this, yesterday in AM Excellence 58 was called Live Your System. And it talks about this idea of developing a system for the way you live your life. Now that sounds kind of complex. System, what does that mean? Systematic living. Systematic living is a term that I started using, but I don't throw out there often because it's kind of scary and intimidating. All it means to develop a system is every morning I wake up, I walk downstairs, I get a cup of coffee, I then read, I then do this, and then I do that. That's your system. And then your day is started off on a right foot. You know, maybe your last part of that system, you wake up, you get downstairs, you pour a coffee, you do 10 push-ups, you watch AM Excellence. That's a system for starting your day. And that's the gist of what I'm saying when we're talking about this system. Now, Urban Meyer talks about his system. And the thing I especially like about this book is it's so, hey John, thank you. It's very systematic. So it says this is what I think, and this is how you can apply it to your life. And so the first couple of things that I want to start with before we get into that. So all in how you respond. Urban Meyer says the people and teams who consistently produce exceptional results are those who have trained themselves to perform intentionally, on purpose, and skillfully when it matters most. So the people and teams who consistently produce exceptional results, it doesn't just happen, they train for it. And we're not talking about just results on the field, results as a family person, results in rec football or soccer, whatever you're playing, results as a coach, whether it's peewee or professional, results as a father, results as an employee, as a boss. Those are the results we're talking about. And it's all the result of training. You don't just become a great leader or coach, you train yourself for it. And Urban Meyer goes on to introduce this equation. And again, this is a system. He says E plus R equals O. Remember that. Write it down. Rewatch that segment. E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. Something's going to happen to every single one of us throughout the day. Event. How are you going to respond to it? That's going to dictate the outcome. Let's dive into that. He says, we don't control the events in life, and we don't directly control the outcomes, but we always have control over how we choose to respond. How we respond means everything. We call it the R factor. You don't control what's going to happen to you. You control how you respond to it. That sounds great, right? But we need a system to enact it. We need, okay, well, that sounds awesome, Spaniard. What do we do with it? Let's get into that. I want to talk a little bit more about that equation, then we'll get into how you actually, he offers his suggestions on how you enact that. He says, every day you make R-factor decisions. You make response decisions. You choose what actions you'll take or not take in the pursuit of your goals. Am I going to get up early? Am I going to read? Am I going to watch AM Excellence? Am I going to go for a walk, go for a run? Those are the actions that you're choosing. You choose whether to give up or persevere through the inevitable obstacles you will experience. You choose how to interact with people at work, in family, at home. A strong message that I want to convey here is, I'm no bit better or different than anyone watching. You sitting there right now are no better or different than anyone watching. The other person that's watching is no better or different than anyone watching. Urban Meyer, who wrote this book, is no better or different than anyone watching. It happens, stuff happens, life happens to every single one of us. The thing that sets Urban Meyer apart, the thing that has set me apart, the thing that will set or does set you apart is how you respond to those things. It's not a magic. People don't have special skills or a special formula. They learn to react to what's thrown at them. And a couple videos ago, it was called Success is a Mindset, or actually I think it was called Failure is a Mindset. And that's just it. If you look at winners, if you say that someone is a winner, well, how can you guarantee that that person is going to win? Win. We're not just talking about total score here. That person's a winner. Have you ever said that about someone? Think about that. When you say, man, that person's a winner. A lot of times you'll hear really successful business people, and I'm talking about Joe DeSena, who is the head of Spartan Race. I met him, and I went up there, and I went to Vermont where their home base is, and I met and I talked to the guy, and he said to me, he said, look, I don't know I don't know where this is going to go, but I just know that I like what I see from you, and I wanted to meet. So then the more that I talked to him, the more that I talked to their workers, another woman there, Marion, who I've become close with, she said, look, what Joe does here, he doesn't look for a specific person to fill a specific void or a gap. He just looks for winners. And if he sees someone that he likes, he brings them in, meets them, develops a relationship, and then goes from there. So to say success is a mindset or someone is a winner, it's not that they necessarily have these skills or they're very big or they're very strong or they're very fast. It's that they have a mindset that whatever comes my way, whatever events come my way, I'm going to respond favorably, and then that's going to produce the outcome that I want. I have that mindset. I don't care if you put me on a deserted island. I'm going to find a way to succeed. I'm going to find a way to pursue excellence, feel good about myself, and feel good about those around me, assuming I'm not on the island by myself. He goes on to talk about strength and conditioning, which is something athlete specific in the way that I train the guys. But then he goes on to say, elite warriors train their minds to focus and think in a way that maximizes how they practice and how they perform in competition. And he talks about your self-talk. What do you tell yourself? I remember specifically, and I think I talked about this in a previous video, I was talking to one of my buddies and I was talking about cold calling. And I said, man, I'm terrible at cold calling. I'm not very good at it. And he said, stop saying that. Don't say it. Because you're going to believe it. You are going to be that thing. And there's a quote that I believe says, like, you are the things you tell yourself, or you become the things that you tell yourself. Case in point, when I was a high school wrestler, I told myself, I'm furious with myself, but I told myself, yeah, you're really good. You'll probably get to the state championships, but you lost last year. You'll probably lose again and be that guy. I told myself that. And guess what? It happened. I want to punch myself in the face for it. You are what you tell yourself. Getting your mind right. And he says, getting your mind right means managing two things. What you focus on, how you talk to yourself. Those are active. So this is the substance, right? We have this system, systematic living. We have this E plus R equals O. What do you do with it? Focus on. What are you focusing on? How you talk to yourself. What you focus on that's an actionable thing. Every single one of you can choose to do that. I can choose to do that. You wake up, what do you focus on? Do you focus on the junk food in my drawer? Do you focus on all the work around your house that needs to be done? Do you focus on the lack of money in your bank account? Do you focus on your annoying neighbors that won't stop talking at 12 midnight and the window's open? Or are you focusing on the other side of that, the good things, the things that you can change? I was watching, last night I was watching E60 I was watching actually two of them, one with Peyton Manning and one with Steve Young. And they're both amazing. I recommend watching them both. Actually, the Peyton Manning one was called like Summer Training Series or something. And Steve Young had this awesome quote and this ties right along with this. And this is no coincidence because Urban Meyer and Steve Young and Peyton Manning are success-minded people. I'm kind of ranting right now, but it's not like there's 1,000 million original success mindset ideas. It's the same thing. You'll see it across the board. I see it with Urban Meyer, Steve Young, Peyton Manning, you name it. But Steve Young said a very cool thing. He was talking about the tunnel, walking out in the Candlestick Park to play, for the Niners. And he said in that walk, reminded me of what was on the other side. I'm walking out into this arena full of raging fans who are expecting me to perform. And he said, that walk reminded me of what's expected of me, the expectations put on me, and the expectations I put on myself. And that walk reminds me, figuratively, to go right through things. He said, when I encounter a problem, I don't go around it, I go right through it. You learn from it, you come out on the other side. And he said, you only learn from it by going through it. And I thought back to my fighting days where literally that walk to the octagon with the cameras 2 feet in front of you with shining lights right in your face and fans reaching out over the reaching into the aisle, walking to a stinking cage to fight another animal who's standing right there. That's like, you got to go for it. You got to go for it. You got to go through it. And you can't learn what I know on the other side unless you go through it. So find those obstacles, run through them. And remember, event plus response equals outcome. It's a system. It's a process. And it's not just something for special, crazy performers. It's for everybody. Self-talk, focus on the right things. He says the voice in your mind is a powerful force. Take ownership of that force. My fourth element of excellence is live with accountability. Live with accountability. Take ownership of what you tell yourself. If you're telling yourself the wrong things, stop. Welcome, John. If you're telling yourself the wrong things, stop. Tell yourself the right things. Have you ever heard there's a saying, or the same friend who told me to stop thinking those things. He told me this story. I think it was like crabs in a bucket. And if there's like a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one crab starts to crawl his way, and this may be a little story that I'm messing up here, but this is how I visualized it. He said if there's a crab crawling up the bucket, a plastic bucket, then another crab will like grab onto him to try to get higher, and then they'll pull them both down. And then like maybe one will get higher and higher, and then another one will pull them all down. So no one ever gets out of the bucket. So my point there is this: when you feel those negative thoughts, like crawling up, be the crab that pulls them down, shove them to the side. Another one coming up, pull them down, shove them to the side. Focus, get them out of the way, focus on those positive things. Because if one negative thing, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If one negative thought comes in, another. Stand at the top of the bucket, kick them right in the face. Kick those negative thoughts right in the face. Get them out of there. And the last little system that I want to talk about, and I'll end this. I'm being texted a question right now. Yes, I can confirm I am going to the gym after this. Thanks, honey. He says there are 6 R-factor disciplines that we teach to our players. And this is, again, the system. So how can you take what I'm saying and then actually implement it? How can it be actionable? He says there are 6 R-factor disciplines. So there are 6 responses that we teach our players. And I'm going to give you the first 3 because that's what I read today. He says, 1, press pause. When an event happens to you, it could be an argument with your wife. Maybe your wife says something to you and immediately you want to react. It could be a player on the other team scores a touchdown. It could be you get in trouble at work, etc. Hit pause. He says, press pause. Process it. I teach a course, and in my course, I call them attitude interventions. It's the same thing. It's not something. The name of the book is Above the Line, Lessons in Leadership and Life from a Championship Season. So I call them attitude interventions. He calls it just pressing pause. Don't just react. Create a habit. Boom, attitude intervention. Press pause. Process what's happening and then respond. The second one is get your mind right. So you have your attitude intervention. You press pause. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is assess the situation. What's going on here? Get your mind right. Get back on track. Step number 3, step up. Hey, Brian, I appreciate you tuning in and saying that. He says step number 3, response number 3, step up. You hit pause. You reframed it in your mind. Shut up and do the work. Step up. Get it done. And the last thing I'll say here, and this falls back on my success, thanks, Scott, as a professional fighter. Under pressure, we do not rise to the occasion. We rise or fall to the level of our training. Under pressure, we do not rise to the occasion. We rise or fall to the level of our training. I used to fight animals, the scariest men in the world. I should have been scared out of my mind. I was more scared in high school wrestling little 135-pound, not really men, back in high school. But when I got to fighting, I was thinking, what the heck is going on? Why am I not scared? Why am I not nervous? There's lights, there's this big arena, there's this crazy cage, there's TV, etc. And I realized, because it was the level of stinking training. That applies across the board. As a parent, I'm not afraid to take my kids to Moe's. I talk about that all the time because I know, hey, okay, I will hit pause. I will get my mind right. Thanks, thank you. And then I'll step up. Follow that system. It's the same across the board. So my daughter says that all the time, and I guess it's because I say it all the time, and my wife. It is now 8:46 on a Sunday morning. It's all in how you respond. Remember the equation: event plus response equals your outcome. Hit pause, get your mind right, step up. Those are two actionable things that you can incorporate into your day today. Mañana, tomorrow will be at 6:45 a.m. because I host a group call at 5 a.m. So I'll be done with that. And tomorrow, AM Excellence 60 will be at 6:45. Hasta entonces, que tengan un buen día y hablamos. Carpe diem, fight well.